And scenes from different spots around the nation this week revealed how both the Department of Social Development and the South African Social Security Agency, SASSA, were overwhelmed by the process. Now, Galeboe Professional Services wants to suggest alternatives to government that they say could introduce new efficiencies. This 100% black-owned business is founded by Cecil Thokoane, and he joins us now via Skype. A very good morning to you, Cecil. Thanks for making the time this morning. What is your suggested system, and why do you think it will work better than the ones being investigated or being used by the Social Development Department?
Good morning, Desiree, and thanks for having me on board. So I'll cut straight to the chase. So we've got a solution which is a system that allows for the disbursement of an electronic voucher straight to a beneficiary's cell phone, and that voucher is disbursed directly. So there are no queues. The beneficiary receives their disbursement where they are, and once they've got that electronic voucher, or you can look at it as electronic money, they can then go and spend it at a number of food retailers, merchants, which we have partnered with. So it's safe, number one, because there's no human intervention. It's secure, and the beneficiary doesn't have to spend a cent. So they get their money safely, and they can go and then get a report and see how that money is being spent. And I think most crucially, ensure that the money is spent on food and other necessities. So we can help with ensuring that there's social distancing. And as we know, this pandemic is here to stay with us for a long time. So we can enforce or help adhere to social distancing principles, and beneficiaries don't have to travel. They get their payment, their grant relief money straight in their phones.
The way you present it sounds so simple, and yet one could ask, if it's so easy, why would it be a challenge for either the department or SASSA to get through to such technology?
Well, there's really like any technology out there. I think this global pandemic has created a challenge for not only South Africa. So it requires a mind shift from traditional ways of doing things, of paying money manually, of having recipients having to go show up physically with a card and have to be verified, and then money transferred into an account, and then they have to go to withdraw the money. So this is a technology that's been evolving. I think globally, we've been doing this for 7 years with our technology partners, disbursing up to 5 billion over those 7 years. So it's basically moving funds from one point to the other. So I think it's just government needs to start looking at embracing this new way of work, this new way of transacting. So it's just a mind shift and changing the way that payments are made and disbursed.
So it still has its limitations, right? If you were to get the work tomorrow, for argument's sake, you'd still have to go to those local merchants to go and have those discussions about allowing the SASSA beneficiaries to use these vouchers in their establishments.
That is already, those relationships with those merchants are already in place, Desiree. As I said, we've been doing this for over 7 years, and over time we've partnered with the likes of ShopRite, Pick n Pay, Checkers, USave, Discam, Clicks, Spar. Beneficiaries can buy airtime from any of the GSM providers, and we continue to add merchants as we go along. So if we had to disperse the funds on Monday next week, the recipient, the beneficiary, could then immediately go to a ShopRite and be able to transact on Monday next week, or to your Pick and Pay, to Boxer, you name it. And we're adding new merchants as we go along. So a merchant can be an established business, or that lady sitting on the side of the road selling fruits and veggies or selling food. They don't need to, they can just sign on because it's electronic device to electronic device. So the merchants are already on board. It's just we're adding more and more as time goes on.
Cecil, have you given consideration to the grant beneficiary that doesn't necessarily need it for retail purposes? Perhaps they want to transfer the funds further to their dependents.
Yes, absolutely. So that can happen as well. Remember, we are transferring electronically, so the system is set up so that you can have money transfers between beneficiaries as well. So this is it's a nice closed loop, but it's very flexible in that we can. I mean, that functionality is already in place. It really depends on how the Department of Social Services, Social Development, or SASSA wants to, what rules they want to enforce. So, for example, if you want to make sure that that money is only spent on food, we can do that. If you want to allow that money can be transferred between beneficiaries, you can allow that. And then from there, you can have a full report to see how the money was spent, and then start changing the rules and add more functionality. But all of that is already embedded in our technology.
That sounds like such a bit complicated, at least for me. What are you doing in terms of de-risking the process? Because there's always concerns about money ending up with unintended recipients.
That's a great point, Desiree. So number one is that the beneficiaries are validated. So the data that we receive, as you're well aware, that the department has been on a drive to register those beneficiaries that qualify. So already that data would have been verified by SARS and other government departments. So the verification is done, and we can do a double verification. And because it's it's a confirmed file, it's verified, we use that data. So the data that we have, and we transfer the funds. And then so the security is that it goes straight into the beneficiary. So,
thank you so
in
much.
technical terms, it's always about what the data you have in place, that it's good data.
Absolutely. Cecil Thokoane is the founder of that IT, 100% black-owned IT company that says it might have solutions for the proper disbursement of grants, as we've seen during the week, the state struggling with that activity. Thank you so much for staying with us until now. Let's say